Okay, let's unpack this. We are leaving the safety of the shore, waving goodbye to the cabins at Camp Half-Blood, and heading into some deep, treacherous waters today. We are doing a comprehensive, no stone left unturned deep dive into Percy Jackson 2. But, and this is key, we aren't just doing a standard plot recap.
No, not at all.
We are stripping this entire season down through the lens of a very specific, very critical viewer, the content creator known as the Mythology guy.
And if you know his work, you know this isn't going to be a gentle ride. I mean, this is a guy who describes himself as a purist.
Right.
He is obsessed with the Rick Riordan books. He lives and breathes the actual Greek mythology, and he desperately, desperately wants this show to work.
He wants it to be the one, the definitive adaptation.
Exactly.
Right.
But his experience watching season 2, it is, well, it's complicated.
Complicated is putting it politely. It sounds more like a psychological thriller or, a tragic romance.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He goes from this cautious optimism to moments of genuine joy. I think he actually calls parts of this miracle. And then by the finale, he is staring at the screen, baffled.
It really is the ultimate mixed bag. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack why this season is, simultaneously a massive improvement and a narrative disaster in the eyes of a superfan.
A total paradox.
Totally. We're talking about the glow up in acting, the budget mystery that he calls the Sea of No Monsters, and the writing decisions that he claims essentially nuke the entire future of the franchise.
Right. We have a lot of ground to cover. We've got zombie veterans from Blockbuster Video, invisible wires, crab monsters, and a finale change that turns the king of the gods, well, a mirth.
Yeah. It gets dark.
So let's start with the good news first, because despite the rage we'll definitely get to later, the source is very clear. Season 2 is a significant step up from...
Absolutely. If Season 1 was the awkward pilot where everyone was finding their footing, Season 2 is where the actors actually arrive. And the core of that improvement, the thing the Mythology guy circles back to constantly, is the chemistry, specifically the Porcoveth dynamic.
Finally, this was the biggest complaint, that Percy and Annabeth felt like robotic strangers, or worse, just coworkers who didn't really...
Exactly. In Season 1, the criticism was that the writing didn't let them be kids or friends. It was all exposition and stiff
plot delivery.
Just plot delivery. But in Season 2, the Mythology guy highlights that the off-screen chemistry these actors reportedly have is finally allowed to breathe on screen.
So it's finally there.
It is. And there's a specific focus on subtlety. You can see Annabeth has a crush on Percy. She isn't saying it. There are no cheesy monologues about feeling, but it's in the glances, the hesitations, the way she looks at him when he's not looking.
It validates all the fans who defended the casting initially. It's that show don't tell magic that makes a romance actually you believe they would fight for each other.
Precisely. The actors are doing the heavy lifting. But, and here's the first crack in the armor, the source argues that while the actors are doing a phenomenal job building this connection, the writers seem to be actively trying to sabotage them.
Sabotage them with what he calls CW logic.
Oh, I love this term, CW logic. For listeners who might not watch teen dramas, the CW network became famous for a specific style of writing where characters don't fight because of genuine, organic ideological differences.
Right.
They fight because the plot requires a scene of them shouting at each other to fill time before the commercial break.
It's completely artificial conflict.
And the source pinpoints the quest setup as the prime example of this in Season 2. In the show, Chiron, the wise mentor centaur who has trained heroes for millennia, pulls Annabeth aside.
Okay.
He asks her to lie to Percy. He effectively says, do not tell Percy that this quest is dangerous, because if he knows the risk, he might not go.
Which, if you know the character of Percy Jackson even a little bit, is insane.
It's insane.
His defining trait is loyalty. It's his fatal flaw. He would walk into a volcano for a ham sandwich if his friend asked.
Yes.
The idea that Percy would shy away from danger when his friends are in trouble is fundamentally misunderstanding.
Precisely. And the source finds this infuriating because it forces Annabeth to be dishonest and Percy to be oblivious, creating this rift between them that feels completely manufactured.
It makes him look bad.
It makes Annabeth look manipulative and Chiron look incompetent. In the book, the tension was organic, stressed, they were competing in a chariot race, they were dealing with the new arrival of Tyson. The drama was baked into the situation.
You didn't need a fake.
You didn't need a lie to create drama. No.
It's cheap writing. It's just checking a box that says conflict without doing the work to earn it. But speaking of Tyson, we have to talk about It seems like amidst all the criticism, Tyson is the one thing the Mythology guy protects at all costs.
Unreserved praise. Tyson is the Cyclops' half-brother of Percy, and in the show, he is played with such sincerity that he becomes the emotional anchor of the season.
That's a huge role.
A huge role. And the source even speculates that the CGI budget for Tyson's single eye is where all the money went, because it actually looks fantastic.
And that's a hard effect to pull off. A single eye can look really creepy or really fake.
Super creepy. But he says it works perfect. And there's a specific change to Tyson's character arc that really land, right? A shift in his prayer.
Tell me about that.
Yes, this is a great example of an adaptation change that actually enhances the source material. In the book, Tyson prays to Poseidon simply for a friend. Very, very sweet.
Right.
In the show, Tyson says he prayed for a friend and Poseidon gave him a brother.
Oh, that hits harder. That connects the family theme instantly.
It does. It deepens the bond immediately. And interestingly, they shifted Tyson's personality a bit. In the books, Tyson is very childlike, almost bubbling with happiness despite his hard life.
He's very
innocent. The show leans more into his trauma. He's sadder, he's scarred. But, and this is crucial, he isn't dumb.
Okay, good.
The source was terrified they would give Tyson the Grover treatment from season 1, making him incompetent or a comic relief buffoon. But Tyson is sharp. He knows who the bad guys are immediately.
He isn't easily duped. He has street smarts.
And physical smart. He actually bodies the villain, Polyphemus. He tackles him right over a cliff.
Oh, nice.
It's a moment of physical competence that the source loved. It shows Tyson isn't just a burden, he's a power.
I love that. And that competence extends to the antagonist, Luke Castlin, as well. This surprise, the source usually hates deviations, but he prefers the show's version.
In some ways, yes. If you look at Book Luke, he is pretty maniacal. He's clearly the bad guy with a capital B.
Yeah, he's very one-note evil.
He's angry, he's venomous. But Show Luke is genuinely conflicted. He's plotting the downfall of Olympus, yes, but you see he still cares about Annabeth and Thalia. There's a sadness in him.
It adds layers.
It does. The source argues this adds layers to the story. It helps the audience understand the temptation. You get why a demigod might join his cause. It's not just evil for evil's sake. It's a radicalized response to neglect.
It makes him a tragic figure rather than just a mustache-twirling villain.
Exactly.
So we have good character work, we have emotional depth, but then have Clarue. And this feels like where the CW writing bleeds into what the source calls sitcom logic.
Clarice is a mess of contradictions in this season, a total mess. The writers clearly wanted to give her a redemption arc way earlier than the books do.
Okay.
They want to show her as a leader who deeply cares for her crew, the Confederate zombies she commands. They want to soften her edges.
Which sounds nice on paper, give her layers, but then there's the stick issue.
Oh, the stick. It's a visual gag that totally undermines the character. Clarice has access to celestial bronze, the rarest, most powerful metal for killing monsters.
It's the best stuff you can get.
The gold standard of weaponry. Yet the source points out she spends the season obsessed with a broken wooden stick. She clings to this piece of driftwood like it's Excalibur.
Is it magical driftwood?
No, it's just a stick. And it makes her look foolish. But the bigger contradiction, the one that really grates on the source, is how she treats that crew she supposedly loved.
This is the whiplash moment.
It is.
Yeah.
Clarice gives these heartfelt speeches about redemption, about protecting her soldiers, about burden of command. But then, when she meets Percy and he offers to help, she introduces her crew as my strategist, my navigator, my engineer.
So she values them.
She acknowledges their value. And then, minutes later, when those crew members question her orders, she executes them.
She what? She kills her own navigator.
On the spot. Kills the engineer, too. The source finds this attempt at dark humor completely baffling.
I mean, yeah.
You cannot build an arc about a sympathetic leader burdened by the safety of her troops and simultaneously have her murder her own navigation officer for a punchline.
Yeah.
It suggests the writers couldn't decide if she was a hero or a villain, so they just did both in the same scene.
It breaks the immersion. You can't root for her redemption if she's casually executing her allies.
You can't.
It sounds like a lack of focus. And unfortunately, that lack of focus seems to define the environment of the season, too. We need to move to the second major pillar of the critique, the sea of no monsters.
This is the big visual complaint, and we have to put a number on this to understand the frustration. The budget for this show is reportedly $15 million per episode.
Whoa. Let's pause on that.
Yeah.
That is blockbuster movie money.
It's insane.
That is Game of Thrones money. That is more than the entire budget of the film Godzilla -1.
Exactly. And Godzilla -1 looked incredible. So the source asked the question repeatedly, where did the money go?
Right.
Because the screen is empty. The cut list for this season, the things that were in the book but are missing from the show, is painful for a book fan.
Give us the rundown. What's missing?
Where to start? The Bear Twins, Agrias, and Aureus. Gone. The Hydra. Gone.
No Hydra.
No Hydra. The Colchis Bulls, literal fire-breathing bronze bulls that attack the camp. Cut entirely. The Party Ponies.
Wait, I remember the Party Ponies. Those are the centaurs with paintball guns who storm the ship in the finale to save the day. They're hilarious.
And they're completely absent. They never show up.
So who saves the day?
The writers just wrote around it. It becomes a smaller, quieter scene. But the most egregious example of the budget disappearing is the Princess Andromeda.
Luke's ship.
Luke's base of operation. In the book, it's a cruise ship that has been turned into a floating nightmare. It is infested with monsters, Dracedi, snake women, hellhounds, giants. It feels like a battleship of mythical terror.
And in the show?
It looks like a regular Disney cruise.
Yeah.
They're just human tourists walking around in the background wearing flip-flops.
You're kidding me.
I'm not.
Yeah.
The source jokes that Luke is running a legitimate cruise line as a side hustle, but it creates a massive logic hole. If this ship is heading into the Sea of Monsters, are all these innocent families just going to die?
It kills the threat level completely. If it's just a boat with a buffet and a shuffleboard deck, it's not scary. It's a vacation.
Precisely. The source calls it the alliance of incompetence, partly because the threats are non-existent visually. Even when monsters do appear, they are minimized to save money. The hippocampes,
horses.
these majestic seahorses that are supposed to carry the heroes, are reduced to tiny heads bobbing in the water 600 feet away from the camera.
The source's joke was, we couldn't afford the rest of the horse.
It feels that way. It feels like they only modeled the head. And then there is Tantalus. Now, Tantalus is a figure from mythology who is cursed to stand in a pool of water beneath a fruit tree. It's a famous image.
Very.
Whenever he reaches for the fruit, the branches raise magic. Whenever he bends to drink, the water recedes. It's magical, eternal torture.
It's where we get the word tant.
Correct. In the show, he just fails to drink. He misses his mouth, or he drops the cup. He just looks clumsy.
Stop it. You're telling me they didn't do the magic effect with a $15 million budget?
They did not. The source was practically yelling at the screen, go to a magic shop, buy some invisible wire.
Oh.
He's making the point that you don't need CGI for this. You pull the apple away on a string, you have a drain in the cup. It's practical effects 101.
With basic stage magic.
The fact that a $15 million production couldn't figure out how to make fruit move away from a hand is emblematic of the lack of creativity the source identifies throughout the production.
It does feel lazy, like they just didn't want to bother solving the problem. And that laziness seems to bleed into the storytelling, too. We have to talk about the mystery box problem.
Yes.
Or rather, the fact that there isn't.
This is a narrative structural issue that really harms the viewing experience. The source argues that the show refuses to let the audience discover anything.
It spoils itself.
It spoils itself. It treats the viewer like they have already read the Wikipedia summary, so why bother building suspense?
The taxi scene was the big example here, right?
Yes, the Gracist. In the book, the trio gets into a taxi, and slowly, through the chaos of the ride, they realize these three old ladies are sharing one eye and are actually monsters.
It's a build-up.
It's a build-up. It's creepy, then chaotic. In the show, the taxi pulls up, the window rolls down, and before they even look inside, Annabeth shouts, "It's the Grey Sisters."
It pops the balloon before you've even inflated it. Why announce the monster before the monster does anything monstrous?
Exactly. It happens again with Tyson. In the book, the reveal that Tyson is a Cyclops is a major plot. The mist hides his true form. Percy defends him as a human friend, only to realize later what he truly is.
And it's a whole character arc for him.
It forces Percy to confront his own prejudice. In the show, the mist apparently doesn't work on demigods. Percy looks at him and says, "Oh, you're a Cyclops," immediately.
So we lose the discovery, we lose the shock, we lose the character growth attached.
And we lose the tension. The source points out a recurring violation of the show don't tell rule. Characters are constantly announcing the names of monsters the second they appear.
Like they're reading from a Pokedex.
Yeah, that is a Stymphalian bird. That is Scylla. They read the monster manual out loud instead of letting the characters and the audience be terrified by the unknown.
It makes the world feel small. If everyone knows everything instantly, there's no adventure. It's just a commute. Oh, look, a bird. Oh, look, a snake.
And the worst part is Thalia. The fact that the Golden Fleece can resurrect Thalia is discussed as a plan mid-season.
No, that's the huge twist at the very end of the book.
It's the shocking cliffhanger. And here, they're talking about it in episode 4 like it's a grocery list.
Yeah.
The source just hates this. He says, why ruin the surprise?
I have to agree. It's baffling.
Now, despite this, the source does admit some changes work. We are entering the adaptation roulette because sometimes the wheel lands on a winner.
Okay, let's give them credit where it's due. Polyphemus.
Yes. In the Odyssey and the books, Polyphemus the Cyclops is often portrayed as a brute, bit dim-witted. He gets tricked by the nobody named Gag.
Right. He's strong, but not smart.
But the show reinvents him.
He's smart in this version.
He's sinister. He was pretending to be stupid to lure the demigods. He has a wall displaying the skulls of satyrs he is eating. The source calls this a legitimate improvement. It makes the villain formidable.
He's a real threat.
He has a punchline. He's a predator.
And the fleece decoy was clever, too. The source mentions seeing the golden fleece in the cave and thinking, wow, that looks like a cheap prop from Party City.
And then it turned out it was a fake. It was a trap. The source loved that. He admits he got outsmarted by the show there.
That's great.
He thought he was criticizing a bad prop, but he was actually falling for a plot. He likes being tricked when it's clever.
But then the roulette wheel spins again, and we land on Scylla and Charybdis, and this sounds like a disaster.
It's rough. Scylla, the six-headed serpent monster who lives in the cliffs, is redesigned to look like she has crab claws.
Crab claws.
Crab claws. It's a bizarre aesthetic choice. It looks like a giant seafood dinner rather than a Hydra-like horror. But the narrative crime is worse. The plan to get past her involves the trio hiding below deck. Meanwhile, Clarisse, remember, the heroic leader, leaves her crew above deck.
To die.
Effectively as bait. The source calls this incompetent, straight evil. In the book, Clarisse puts on armor and fight. She tries to save her people.
Right, she has her moment.
Here she hides while they get snatched. It contradicts the entire redemption arc they were trying to build in episode 1.
And Charybdis, the world.
This might be the silliest moment of the season. The ship isn't destroyed by the overwhelming power of the monster. It's destroyed because the characters clumsily knock over a jar of wind.
A jar of wind, like slapstick.
Like a cartoon. Whoops, I bumped the table. The source hates this because it makes the characters the architects of their own failure. It robs the monster of its threat.
It's not a monster problem, it's a clumsiness problem.
They didn't lose because the monster was strong. They lost because they were clumsy.
But nothing, and I mean nothing, seems to annoy the source more in this section than the Circe versus Calypso. This is a deep lore cut. But tell us why it matters.
It matters because it speaks to the attitude of the writers. In the show, they arrive at Circe's island. Now, Circe's the witch who turns men into pigs. That's her thing.
That's her whole deal.
That's her whole deal in thousands of years of mythology. But in the show, she's portrayed as a helpful, slightly manipulative spa owner who wants people to stay forever to be safe.
Which is exactly the description of Calypso, a completely different character who Percy meets later in the series.
Correct. They seem to have fundamentally mixed up the two archetypes, but the insult adds injury. The show has the characters explicitly claim that Homer got it all wrong in the Odyssey. They say Circe was misunderstood, and the myths are lies.
Okay, that's a popular trope right now, deconstructing the myth. The old stories were biased.
Which would be fine if the show respected its own lot. But in the very next episode, Annabeth uses the Odyssey, the same book they just called Garbage and Lie, as a tactical instruction manual to defeat Polyphemus.
So Homer is a liar in episode 5, but the ultimate authority in episode 6.
Precisely. It's a continuity error that drives the source crazy. It feels arrogant. The writers are trying to be smarter than the source material, fixing the myth, but then they rely on that same myth when they run out of ideas.
They want to have their cake and eat it too.
They do. And it treats the audience like they won't notice the contradiction.
However, we have to give credit for the siren.
We do. Annabeth traps the sirens, stabs them, and the goddess Athena appears to congratulate her. The source was rolling his eyes thinking, this is so stupid. Athena wouldn't do that. This is bad writing.
He was ready to be mad.
He was ready. And then Snap It reveals it was a hallucination. Sirens had her.
He liked that.
He did. He loved it. It shows he is willing to praise the show when the writing is actually clever.
It respects the audience's intelligence.
Exactly. But all of this, the crab claws, the invisible wire, the confusing Clarisse, this is all just a warm-up for the finale. We are now entering section 5, the character assassination.
The source went into the finale hopeful, right? He actually liked episode 6.
He did. He said episode 6 was great. He thought they might stick the landing. And then the Zeus scene happened. And this is the nuke. This is the moment that, for him, breaks the show.
Okay, let's set the stage for the listeners who haven't read the books. What is supposed to happen in this pivotal backstory?
In the backstory, Thalia, Zeus's daughter, is dying while fighting an army of monsters to save her friends Luke and Annabeth. She is overwhelmed.
She's making a heroic sacrifice.
A true sacrifice.
Yeah.
Zeus, watching from Olympus, takes pity on her. He honors her sacrifice by saving her soul and turning her into the pine tree that protects the camp. It's a tragic moment. It shows that Zeus, while flawed and distant, has a heart.
He cares.
He cares. He loves his daughter in his own way. It establishes him as a complex figure.
It establishes a moral complexity. The gods are jerks, but they aren't monsters. They have capacity for mercy.
Now, here's the show's version. 1. There is no army, just 3 Furies.
Okay, smaller stakes.
2. Zeus arrives and kills the Furies instantly. There is no threat to Thalia anymore. She is safe. 3. Thalia looks at Zeus and says she refuses to be his weapon in the coming war. She asserts her independence.
Okay, sounds like a dramatic confrontation.
And 4. Zeus, looking at his defiant daughter, blasts her with lightning. He kills her on the spot.
Wait.
He turns her into the tree, not to save her life, but to silence her, to use her as a magical fence post because she wouldn't obey him.
Wait. Pause. So the king of the gods, the leader of the good guys, is a child.
Yeah.
He killed his own daughter just for having an opinion.
Yes, and the source argues this breaks the entire story. It ruins the motivation for every single character going forward.
Yeah, I can see that.
Think about it. Why would Thalia, when she is resurrected, ever side with Olympus? Her father murdered.
Why would Annabeth serve Olympus? She watched this happen. She saw Zeus kill her best friend.
And why would Percy? The entire premise of Percy Jackson is the Great Prophet, a choice to save or destroy Olympus. The books argue that while the gods are flawed, They are better than the Titan, who were chaotic destroyers.
It's a lesser of two evils.
There was a lesser of two evils dynamic. But if Zeus is a guy who murders his own kids for disobedience, there is no lesser evil. He is just a villain. He is just Kronos with better PR.
Oh.
Exactly. The source asks, why is the king of the gods irredeemable? If Zeus is this evil, the logical choice for any demigod is to join Luke and Kronos. It makes the villains right. It justifies Luke's entire rebellion.
And didn't this mess up the lore with Hades, too?
It flips it completely. In the finale, it's revealed Hades sent the Furies just to talk to Thalia. He didn't want to hurt her.
Just to talk.
Yes. But remember, season 1, Hades explicitly told Percy he doesn't care about his family or Olympus. Now, suddenly, the show is retconning Hades into the misunderstood good guy and Zeus into the mustache-twirling bad guy.
That feels clumsy.
It's very clumsy. What about Chiron? He's supposed to be the trustworthy mentor.
Yeah, what's his role in all?
This is the collateral damage. In the show, Chiron knew about this. He witnessed Zeus murdering Thalia and then lied to Annabeth and Luke for years, telling them she sacrificed herself heroically.
So Chiron is an accomplice to a cover-up of a child murder.
According to the source, yes. It ruins Chiron's character integrity. He's no longer the wise teacher. He's the enforcer of a tyrant.
It feels like the writers are trying to modernize the morality down with the patriarchy, authority is bad, but they are doing it with a sledgehammer that shatters the logic of the world.
That's it.
They wanted to make Zeus a villain, but they forgot they need a reason for the heroes to save him later.
That is the source's conclusion. He calls it a poison pill. Even though he liked the acting, even though he loved Tyson, this one decision in the finale drags the whole score down.
No.
He can't see how season 3, 4, or 5 can function properly.
There's no way.
If Zeus is the ultimate villain, Percy cannot save Olympus in the same way. The story must change fundamentally.
It's a narrative dead end, or at least a detour into a completely different story than the one fans love.
Completely.
Before we get to the final verdict, though, we have to mention the weird thing.
Yeah.
Because there were some bizarre details that the source caught things that aren't necessarily world-breaking, but are just confusing.
So confusing.
The blockbuster zombie. I saw this note and I laughed out loud.
Yes. On Clarissa's ship, there is a zombie soldier. He tells Clarissa he died in the streaming wars and that he is a veteran from the nation of Blockbuster.
I mean, that's funny, but it makes no sense.
It makes zero sense in the timeline or the world building. Blockbuster wasn't a country. Zombies shouldn't care about Netflix.
Right.
But the source admitted it was legit funny. It was a moment of absurdist humor that landed, even if it broke the fourth wall and the logic of the show.
And then we have British Thalia.
The source is totally baffled here. Thalia appears in the show in flashbacks and dream sequence, and she seems to have a British accent.
What? Why?
In the books, she's an American punk rock kid. She eats burgers and listens to Green Day. In the show, she's from London. There was no explanation given.
Maybe she did a semester abroad before dying.
Because the show didn't mention it much. The source says Grover got done dirty again. In the book, Grover is captured by Polyphemus. He spends the story using his wits to survive.
He weaves the wedding dress.
He weaves the wedding dress to trick the giant into thinking he's a female Cyclops. It's a great showcase for his intelligence and his bravery.
And in the show.
He gets captured by a random sea monster first. He spends most of the season sidelined, separated from the main plot, just waiting to be rescued. He is robbed of his age.
Justice for Grover.
Seriously.
Why not?
Justice for Grover.
So let's bring it all home. The outro. We have the glow up of the actors versus the lore nuke of the writing. We have the chemistry versus confusing budget. What is the final verdict from the mythology?
It's a conflicted verdict. He admits the season was better than season 1 overall. The floor was raised. It wasn't the painful slog that season 1 sometimes was.
Something.
The chemistry made it watchable. The acting carried it.
But the ceiling collapsed.
The finale collapsed the ceiling. That retcon of Zeus acts as a heavy anchor. He ends his review questioning the integrity of the adaptation itself. He brings up the Rick Riordan defense.
That's the argument fans. Rick Riordan is a producer. He wrote the show, so if he changed it, it's accurate. It's his world. He can do what he wants.
The source rejects this completely. He argues that just because the creator approves a change doesn't mean the change is good storytelling.
That's a great point.
If J.K. Rowling wrote a new Harry Potter book where Harry used a machine gun, it would be canon, but it would still be a betrayal of the tone and lodge series.
So the source feels the show is insulting the books, even if the author is holding the pen.
He asks a very provocative closing question. Does this adaptation actually want to tell the story of Percy Jackson? Or is it trying to fix a story it thinks is broken?
That is a heavy question. If you are changing the fundamental motivations of the gods, you aren't just adapting, you are rewriting the moral argument of the series. You're saying the original book wrong.
And if they continue down this path, we are heading for an ending that will look nothing like the books. The source suspects that season 3 might be the breaking point, where the two stories, the book and the show, become unrecognizable from each other.
Well, that is a lot to chew on. From the Sea of No Monsters to the murder of Thalia, Season 2 certainly made choices. Whether they were the right ones, well, that's up to the viewers and the rating.
Keep your eyes on the rating and watch out for those invisible wires.
That's all for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.